much for joining me in chapter 2 of my story. There's a couple of things I just want to say first before you get into the next exciting part of the story. I just want to say a huge thank you to everyone that has viewed chapter 1 so far, and everybody that has shared it, because it's been shared around by a couple of my friends and I'm so grateful for them for doing it. And it's amazing, you know, the support that you can get from your friends for something that you're so passionate about and you want to get out there, sort of thing. So yeah, thank you all to everyone that is sharing it, and if you guys enjoy watching this chapter as well, then please share it around to any of your friends who you think might also enjoy hearing this story. And yeah, this should be an interesting adventure for all of us, really. If you're new to my channel, then obviously welcome, hi there. And if you're starting here on chapter 2, you can actually go and watch chapter 1 first, because you'll be up to speed with where we are now currently. If you want to see chapter 1, I'll put a little annotation just here. You can click where I'm pointing. Hopefully there'll be an annotation box for chapter 1. If not, then I will put a link in the video description below. I'll probably do both just to make it easier for all of you out there. So yeah, thank you to everyone. This is going to be a really interesting thing for all of us, and I'm really dedicated to posting weekly the chapters. Some chapters might be longer than others, so I might have to cut them in places, but we'll see how it goes when we get there. Okay, so chapter 2 is pretty long when I recorded it, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to split it up into 2 parts. This is part 1. Hours began to pass by in an instant. The blanket of darkness began to recede, and the light of day shone through. By now I had slowed the pace of beauty, as I knew we were getting closer to the first force I could try to ally with. As I rode, feeling somewhat alone and afraid, the scenery was slowly changing as I rode into the Wei territory in the central plains of the Wei force's capital, Suchang. Wei is the closest force to home. I just hope Cao Cao sees sense in what I need from him and his army. As we were riding slowly, I began to take in the beauty of my surroundings. The beautiful snow-covered mountains, the thousands of flowers beginning to bud in the fields, and the main gates of Suchang that enveloped the vast landscape before me. I could feel beauty's heartbeat, so slow and controlled, but mine was rapid with fear. In my heart, I knew this was going to be the toughest thing I would face in my life. No woman should ever have to go to battle, but I was an exception. I had gained military skills from my father, and it was only after my father had died that Mother let me train. Mother was very much against it, but seeing as Father's dying wish was to have me become a warrior, she couldn't say no. It was beginning to snow lightly, and the temperature dropped dramatically to freezing. Now slowly coming closer to the main gates, I pulled my weapons, except my sword, on the side of Beauty's saddle. The hills of Suchang towered over me, a wonderful sight. I had never been this far into Wei territory. Finally, I was getting a chance to see the expansive beauty of my country. I had visited this province many years ago, but never to the full extent of entering the capital. Now I could see the Wei banners hoisted high into the sky from the main gates. I jumped off Beauty and held her harness strings as I walked slightly scared, pulling Beauty along with me, towards 3 officers standing outside guarding the main gates. One of these officers was a gate captain, and the other 2 were messengers who would go and inform the general who was at the gate. Immediately, I made no eye contact, but prostrated myself with my head on the ground in a bow. I dare not look up, unless they asked me to. Then the guard captain said with a stern manner, "Who are you? And state your cause for being here." I replied calmly, still bowing in respect, by saying, "I am Zhen Qi, daughter of the former and now deceased Wu officer Zhao Ling. I have come to seek counsel from Cao Cao for the possibility of an alliance, because my sister was killed by the warrior who is feared throughout this land. This evil tyrant took my mother and brother captive, so I asked Cao Cao if he would honour me in helping me to defeat Lu Bu, with the help of Wei, Wu and Shu. Together I believe we can end the monster's reign of terror." A short silence was held. The atmosphere felt awkward, but the guard captain told me I could rise now, and opened the gate so the messengers went to Cao Cao to tell him I was coming to talk to him. "Come with me," Zenchi. I followed the guard captain with Beauty still behind, through the gates and into the main plains of Suchang, and past the many houses and tents of Wei officers and their troops. All around, the Wei troops were rushing around doing their daily jobs, like helping the civilians with the crops, gathering and upgrading weapons, and training until their bodies ached. Even some of the Wei officers came out, and some of them I even recognised, like Shahaldun, Zhang He, Cao Ren. They saw me and must have got the impression I was heading off to see Cao Cao, so they all rushed ahead to get to him. I presumed to guard him. I started to remember how I had met them before I began any training. I remember coming here to see the Wei territory only a few years ago with my master, who told me that I would learn a lot about the warfare from Cao Cao's 1 million strong army. My fears began to subside. I should not have felt this fear in the first place. Fear is not the way of the warrior. They must be strong, agile, and brave. The only thing a warrior fears is not completing their mission. I had been taught never to be afraid unless my life is in danger, but at this stage it was safe to say that I was out of harm's way. For now. I was taken to the main hall where tactics and government policies were made. We were now standing outside the door to Cao Cao's Great Hall. I was told to wait while the messengers explained my cause for being there. The atmosphere around me was awkward. I stood alone, awaiting entrance, while Wei officers and citizens stood in awe, whispering among themselves about who I was, and whether I should be trusted. The wars have made everyone so suspicious. One of the guards returned, opened the door, and explained, "You may enter now, but be sure to only go as far as halfway towards the throne, unless Cao Cao says otherwise." The guard captain's words were implanted in my mind, which gave me a full sense of Cao Cao's power. As the huge doors began to open, I could see lines of troops on either side of the walls, spears and crossbows in hand. I kept my head high and walked in with respect for Cao Cao, and stopped a little less than halfway, just to be safe. My nerves were building up slowly inside me. Slowly and steadily I got down on my knees and bowed before his mighty power. He told his troops to be at ease, but I kept my head down and wondered what he was about to say. "Zenchi, I am glad to see you. You have done the right thing in coming for help, and although we are having a few troubles with Wu at this moment in time, if you can help us to become allies, you are worthy of my honour. However, it does seem strange that Lu Bu would come after your sister, and in such a small village. Do you know why he killed Xiaoling?" he said in a surprised manner. Lifting my head slowly in reply to his question, I said, "Well, I can't think strongly about this, but I assume that he killed Xiaoling because he thought she was me. Xiaoling and I do look alike, but I would never think a powerful warrior like Lu Bu would mistake me for my sister. However, I must say that if Lu Bu was supposed to kill me, I'm afraid I wouldn't know why he would want to. Lu Bu made things worse though. I believe he has taken my brother and mother captive. They were nowhere to be found after my sister's death, and I fear the worst. What an ungrateful fiend, capturing what was left of your family. He may use your brother to his advantage, if your brother is a strong warrior. From what I hear of your father's strength, your brother must have surpassed it tenfold. We must pursue this path with caution. Soon enough, we may be able to find out why Lu Bu killed your sister, but we will coordinate an alliance with Wu and Shu to put an end to the monster that is Lu Bu. He has caused much trouble for us too. He has destroyed many of our strongholds, and is gathering his troops into far more numbers. However, he is deceitful, and this has made his people discontent and upset with his rule. It could be possible to charm the enemy if we get a chance. But I must ask, do you think you are capable of getting an alliance with Wu, as there is some strong tension between us?" Cao Cao replied. "I do believe strongly that I can, as I know Sun Jian from many years ago. You will understand my connection with them soon enough. Also, my father, Xiaoling, was one of Sun Jian's most highly praised officers. I promise you I won't let you down." I ended as I slowly raised myself and moved more forward to Cao Cao's hand movement. He became friendlier and rose from his throne to come down to my level, placed his hand on my shoulder, looked down at me as I bowed and said, "I trust your words. It is a shame for you to have lost your sister, and tomorrow we shall work out our path to get to Wu's capital, Jiangdong, and how we shall make the negotiations. We obviously need to give you somewhere to stay the night, so one of my commanding privates will see to it that—" "Wait, my lord." Cao Cao and I looked behind his throne to see who answered back. "Would it be alright for me to take Zenchi somewhere safe to sleep, as I've known her for quite some time, and it would save you the trouble of having to find a commanding private, as I'm already here. Also, I would love to have the honour to show her around," Zhang He suggested. "Very well, Zhang, that's very kind of you. Have a wonderful evening, Zenchi." "Thank you, my lord." I finished gracefully with a bow, and Zhang took my hand and said, "Shall I take you around the camp to show you what's going on around here?" "That's a wonderful idea. I haven't been here for years." "Yes, well, a lot has changed. Everything is bigger, better, and more beautiful in a way." As we walked through the many paths, we passed various buildings containing horses, armour, and all the other equipment. Well, Zhang certainly was right about everything being bigger and better, but where is the beauty he was on about? Is it natural beauty, or what he sees within the Force? He then told me to close my eyes. I was a bit hesitant, but he told me to trust him, so I did. Eyes closed, he took my hands and led me along the ground. I had no idea where he was taking me. A breeze was picking up and I could feel the leaves scratching at my skin as they flew by. In a way, although my eyes were closed, I was picturing the scenery. All the trees towered high above me, reaching for the heavens. The snow lightly dusting on the ground, and a view that just takes the breath away. With eyes still closed, my senses were heightened, and I could smell the aromatic smell of fresh cooking, leathered armour, and perfume from nearby houses. I felt like I was floating. I didn't have a care in the world at this point. I just wanted to know what it was that I was being led to. Then we stopped. Zhang didn't say anything, so I asked, "Zhang, are you—" "Don't speak, just listen," he replied. To make sure I wasn't looking, he placed his hands over my eyes. I listened to the sounds of the earth. Birds were singing sweet songs. The trees hummed a melody as the wind blew through them. Wild horses running free, the gallop of their hooves moved my heart. The rushing sound of water flowing over rock and crashing down into the river. I felt at peace. It was different. It was incredible. Then Zhang took his hands away and told me to open my eyes. The scenery was nothing like I imagined. It was better. This was the beauty he had told me about. I felt so moved. I fell to the floor and sat in silence, stunned at the beauty around me. I felt my breath slow down to a soothing pace. The smells of this place were so fresh. I closed my eyes once more, hoping this feeling would never go away. Then I opened my eyes, and Zhang sat next to me, closed his eyes, and breathed in the air. A smile crept onto my face, and Zhang said to me, "I brought you here to escape reality. Even though it's only for a short amount of time, you've been through a lot recently, and I thought this would help you see that not everything in this world is as bad as you may think. It gives your mind a chance to be at peace before the grief settles in for you." Yes, my mind was so preoccupied with finding help that I haven't really grieved for her yet, but I must save it for the shrine. This has been a wonderful distraction. Some parts of the world really are beautiful. This is what I imagine the heavens are like. It's so peaceful here. I wonder if it is anything like this for Chao. Thank you for bringing me here, Zhang.